Stop waiting for the universe to flash a sign at you. What if the signal you need has been speaking through your quiet all along? Most people learn to read the world for confirmation. They watch clocks for repeating numbers, latch onto a line from a song, or smile at a coincidence and call it guidance. Those moments can be tender and strange, but they are not the primary map. Relying on outward proof trains you to search outside while the real direction pulses from within. Remember the times your life turned without logic, when a single inner nudge rerouted everything. Maybe the choice looked reckless on paper. Maybe others warned you. Yet after you moved, the pieces rearranged as if they had been waiting for your permission. That was not random luck. It was coherence answering coherence. Intuition is not mystic guessing. It is the body and mind reading patterns beneath the surface, a fast, quiet computation that the thinking mind cannot keep up with. Neuroscience shows our nervous system processes far more information than we consciously notice. Those impressions, the subtle pulls in your gut, or the quiet certainty in your chest, are the brain and body translating a deeper intelligence. Physics gives us another lens. Your awareness is not an island sealed inside your skull. It is entangled with the larger field, already touching possible tomorrows. The sense that something is right is like a future possibility pressing back through time, nudging you toward a version of reality where that possibility already exists. When you tune in, you feel that pressure as an inner prompt. When you insist on external signs, you are effectively broadcasting uncertainty. Waiting for a visible stamp of approval delays your step. When you act from inner alignment, the surrounding world flexes to support that choice. The field rearranges itself around coherent intention, not around indecision. Imagine life without the tension of waiting for evidence. The tightness that comes from hunting for confirmation would loosen. The background hum of doubt, the endless asking of whether you are on the right road, would soften because the path you walk would be discovered from inside out. Each decision made from resonance, not fear, unfolds into the next with a surprising ease. Stillness is not absence. It is the soil where inner knowing grows loud enough to be heard. When you sit in silence, your nervous system descends from reactive scramble into a place of receptive clarity. That is where intuition can be recognized as a clear tone instead of a whisper drowned by worry. Living from that clarity does not stop meaningful coincidences. It changes why they appear. Synchronicities begin to multiply, not to persuade you that you should move, but to confirm the choice you have already embodied. They stop being the only proof and become an echo of an alignment that started inside you. There is an ancient line that says the kingdom is within. This is not mere metaphor. Seen through the lens of modern thought, it becomes a working principle. The field does not need your eyes to find a number on the clock. It waits for the nervous system to settle into the decision you have already felt. When you are coherent, possibilities collapse toward you in a way that looks like grace. So cultivate listening rather than looking. Practice small acts of resonance, decisions made from a quiet yes rather than anxious checklists. Notice how your body tilts toward certain choices, how some options carry a felt allowance instead of constriction. Those are the coordinates you can trust. Trusting the inner signal does not mean ignoring reason. It means letting the felt, knowing, and the rational mind collaborate. Use information, but let the felt resonance be the final judge. Move when you have that inner alignment and watch how the outer world reconfigures to meet the coherence you carry. When you stop treating signs as the sole authority, fear loses its power to stall you. The universe will keep being strange and generous, but its favors will no longer be needed to convince you. They will simply confirm a truth you already recognized in the quiet of your own sensing. It is coherence that bends reality. It is clarity that calls the field into motion. When you stop outsourcing your power to coincidences and start standing in the vibration of your own truth, life begins to respond. That is why some seem to manifest with such ease. They are not pleading for signs or begging the universe for permission. They radiate certainty from within, and the field has no choice but to reflect it back. Here lies the hidden truth. Synchronicity is not the spark that begins manifestation. It is the echo. It is the ripple that follows once the inner choice has already crystallized, which means if you wait for proof before moving, you are living backwards. You are lingering in delay. But when you follow the subtle compass inside you, the quickening pulse when truth is near, the unexpected calm when alignment has arrived, the world outside becomes a mirror of that knowing. Numbers appear, doors swing open, opportunities arrange themselves, not to convince you, but to celebrate what you have already chosen. The paradox is sharp. The more you scan outside for confirmation, the fainter your inner guidance becomes. The more you lean into that guidance, the louder the universe resounds with affirmation. This reversal escapes most people, but it changes everything once you see it. Your task is not to hunt for another sign. It is to close your eyes and feel the resonance already alive in your chest. That vibration is not fantasy. It is the field itself speaking. When you let it lead, you stop asking for direction. You become the direction. Think about the compass, one of humanity's simplest yet most profound inventions. It does not hand you the whole map, nor does it predict every obstacle ahead. It offers one thing only: orientation, a silent pull that reveals where north lies. Intuition is the same. It may not explain itself. It may not sketch out the full picture of what comes next, but it delivers alignment, a magnetic current within your being. Just as the compass is tuned to Earth's magnetic field, your intuition is tuned to the quantum field itself. This is not poetic exaggeration, it is literal. In quantum biology, even tiny birds migrating across continents rely on entanglement within their very cells to navigate vast distances. If nature's smallest creatures are gifted with coherence as their guidance system, why imagine that you, an aware and entangled being, would be left without? Intuition is not a fragile luxury. It is the most advanced navigation system you were given. Yet most of us were trained to mistrust it. Society rewards logic, strategy, and planning, while intuition is waved away as guesswork or superstition. But here is the irony. Logic can only calculate using the past. It builds equations out of what has already been. Intuition, by contrast, draws directly from the probabilities of what is yet to unfold. Neuroscientist Antonio Damasio revealed something striking. When the brain's ability to process emotion and intuition is damaged, decision-making collapses. People in this state can analyze forever, but they cannot choose. Pure logic without inner sensing leads only to paralysis. There is a quiet surprise here. Intuition is not the opposite of intellect. It is another form of intelligence, one that moves beyond straight lines and step-by-step reasoning. Quantum ideas give us a frame. Reality does not lock into one single future until it is observed. So what you call a hunch is often the brush of several possible tomorrows against your awareness before they settle into form. That sudden pull, that wordless certainty in the chest is not nonsense. It is resonance with a timeline already leaning toward you, felt before the mind can produce its neat explanations. Because consciousness is woven into the field, you can perceive those potentials ahead of rational proof. Great minds have long honored this ability. Intuition, they knew, carries a value that equations alone cannot reach. Yet intuition speaks softly. In an age of alarms, feeds, and constant comparison, those soft currents are easily drowned. Most people think their inner knowing is silent, when actually they have only raised the volume of external distraction so high that the subtler frequency cannot be heard. Imagine a radio buried under static. No matter how clear the station, you cannot tune in until the noise subsides. Slow down. Give space between your thoughts and listen. The signal is always broadcasting. Rather than a linear map that lists steps A, B, C, this intelligence offers a sense of fit. You will feel expansion, like a chord opening, when you move toward the right frequency, and contraction when you stray. Your body is the first instrument to play these notes. The nervous system relaxes when you align and tightens when you do not. The unconscious carries these messages long before the conscious mind labels them. A sudden chill, a tightness in the gut, the chest that blooms with quiet joy. These are not random sensations. They are the body translating futures into feeling, an inner navigation that asks only that you learn to trust its language. Those signals you feel are not random. They are feedback from the field itself. Your body is the receiver, tuned to quantum guidance in every moment. Yet here is the tragedy. Most people silence this wisdom because it doesn't arrive dressed in logic. They override it with analysis, waiting for visible proof, numbers, coincidences, signs, because what can be seen feels safer than what can only be felt. But manifestation does not answer to sight, it answers to vibration. And vibration begins in your inner world long before it paints itself across the outer one. This is why Neville Goddard insisted that feeling is the secret. He knew the inner compass is not a luxury, it is the portal. When you honor it, life stops being a grind of effort. It shifts into rhythm, into flow. To ignore this compass is like wandering blind through a forest while the map rests quietly in your pocket. You stumble not because the path is hidden, but because you refuse to unfold the instrument already placed in your hands. The good news is simple. Intuition is not a talent you must earn. It is a sense you must remember. The more you listen, the clearer it grows. Like a muscle, it strengthens with use. Your quantum compass is alive right now. The only real question is whether you will dare to trust it before the evidence shows up. Science itself has begun to uncover what mystics always taught. For decades, we were told decisions arise only through conscious reasoning, but experiments revealed otherwise. Neuroscientist Benjamin Libet discovered electrical activity sparking in the brain, a readiness potential, moments before participants were even aware they had decided to act. Later studies stretched that window to several seconds, which means that before your mind says, "I've chosen," your body's already moving toward the choice. Seen through the quantum lens, this is not the brain forcing reality into being. It is consciousness aligning with a probability in the field, and the body registering it first. Your nervous system works like an antenna, picking up whispers of the future before thought can catch up. The heart is even more sensitive. Researchers at the HeartMath Institute found that heart rhythms shifted seconds before participants were shown images, even before the computer randomly selected which images to display. The implications are staggering. The body does not only react to the future, it anticipates it. The heart, acting as a quantum receiver, senses which timeline is about to collapse into form. This is why you sometimes just know. Why calm or dread floods your body with no clear cause. Intuition is not imagination. It is biology in communion with possibility, which means manifestation is not about waiting passively for proof. It is about cultivating coherence so deeply that you can trust and act upon those pre-signals the moment they arise. When intuition whispers, "Go this way," it is not a guess. It is resonance with the probability wave most aligned with your chosen outcome. Joe Dispenza calls this creating from the field rather than from matter. Matter demands time, force, and effort. The field responds instantly, but only when you match its vibration. These pre-signals are the whispers of the quantum field saying, "This is the door, step through it before the mind persuades you to turn back." Quantum theory affirms that in superposition, every possibility exists at once. A decision collapses the wave into one reality. But here is the subtle truth most overlook. The collapse begins before you consciously name your choice. Awareness lags behind alignment. This is why manifestation is less about willpower and more about receptivity. If you train yourself to notice the pre-signals within your body, the sudden release in your chest, the spark of energy rising in your core, the shiver across your skin, you move ahead of your own rational mind. You act from resonance instead of resistance. Think of the times you trusted a gut feeling with no explanation. Later, you saw how that choice opened doors, spared you from struggle, or led you to the right encounter at the right time. That was not coincidence. That was you responding to the signal before logic interfered. And recall the times you ignored your intuition, convincing yourself with reasoning to choose another way. Did those paths not often lead to unnecessary effort and confusion? This is not mystical fantasy. This is the quantum field at work, revealing that the information you need is already encoded within the subtle layers of awareness. Science is beginning to confirm this. Studies on presentiment, the body's ability to sense future events, show that consciousness is not bound by linear time. Dean Radin of the Institute of Noetic Sciences conducted dozens of experiments revealing physiological shifts in participants seconds before random events occurred. His conclusion is bold. Consciousness is non-local. entangled with information across time, which means intuition is not predicting the future. It is accessing the field, where the future already exists in potential. Every time you feel those subtle signals, you are brushing against a timeline that is seeking to merge with you. And here lies the practical truth. Manifestation does not begin when you think, I want this. It begins in the milliseconds, even seconds before the thought appears. The field is already vibrating with the reality you are aligning with. If you can slow down through meditation, breathwork, or coherence practices, you will catch these signals in real time. This is why ancient spiritual traditions emphasize silence, presence, stillness. They were not empty rituals. They were training grounds for listening to the whispers of the field. And now modern science is finally catching up, validating what mystics have always known. The universe whispers before it speaks. So the great shift is this. Instead of asking, how do I make manifestation happen? The deeper question becomes, how do I sense it already beginning? Once you see it this way, manifestation is no longer a chase, but a recognition. You are no longer forcing an outcome into being. You are attuning to the subtle signals that reveal what is already forming. And when you trust those signals, you collapse reality with precision. If the field is always whispering before reality crystallizes, then mastery lies not in control, but in listening. Yet most people live in so much noise, mental chatter, emotional turbulence, constant distraction, that the whispers are drowned out. Chances are you have already felt them, the quiet certainty, the sudden peace, the inexplicable spark in your body, the gut feeling that defies logic. The real key is not to sense them occasionally, but to make recognition a way of life. And the path to this lies in 3 steps. A simple yet radical shift begins in how you meet the present moment. The first step is quieting the interference. Picture your nervous system as a tuning fork. When it is overstimulated or tangled in stress, it cannot resonate with the finer notes of the field. Joe Dispenza calls this moving from survival mode into creation mode. As long as your body is flooded with stress chemistry, you are locked inside old patterns, unable to receive new information from the field. The practice is coherence. Start with the breath. Slow, intentional inhales and elongated exhales signal safety to the body. HeartMath describes this as heart coherence, breathing as though through the heart, extending the out-breath, and infusing each moment with gratitude. This simple rhythm resets your nervous system, lowers the noise, and opens perception to the subtle pre-signals usually drowned in static. Without this step, the whispers of the universe remain unheard. The second step is attuning to sensation rather than thought. The brain is skilled at analysis, but analysis always arrives late, after the pre-signal has passed. Instead of waiting for logic, shift your awareness to the micro-sensations of the body, the faint tingling on your skin, a subtle shift in temperature, the flutter in your stomach, or an unexpected calm. These are not random. Dean Radin's research in presentiment shows the body often reacts seconds before the conscious mind catches up. By noticing these small signals, you train yourself to receive the field's previews in real time. Meditation strengthens this capacity. In silence, observe your body with curiosity rather than judgment. With practice, you will discover that your body knows before your mind does, and that knowing is your compass. The third step is immediate action. This is where most people falter. They feel the nudge to call someone, to take a different path, to lean into an idea that excites them. But then the rational mind intrudes. What if I'm wrong? What if it makes no sense? And in that hesitation, the wave collapses back into the old timeline. Quantum alignment requires trusting the first signal. Neville Goddard called this living in the end, the willingness to embody the feeling of the fulfilled outcome before logic interferes. Neuroscience describes this as feed forward rather than feedback. You act not because the world validates you first, but because the inner resonance already confirms it. Paradoxically, once you move, the outer world rearranges to support you. Synchronicities multiply, doors open, the right people appear. Action locks the alignment in place. So let's bring this down to practice. Today, set aside 10 minutes free of distraction, close your eyes, slow your breath, and let your heart become the center of awareness. Then ask, What does my body already know about what is coming? And simply wait. Do not force images. Do not chase answers. Simply observe. Maybe a word drifts in, maybe a memory surfaces, or maybe nothing appears except a shift in sensation. Whatever arises, allow it. Then for the next 24 hours, notice the smallest invitations to act. Perhaps you feel nudged to open a book, send a message, or take a walk at an unexpected moment. Follow it. These micro-actions retrain your nervous system to trust resonance instead of analysis. Each time you honor a signal, you strengthen its clarity. And within this practice lies a deeper truth. Letting go of control. Many people miss pre-signals because they are obsessed with outcomes. They demand the universe deliver on their schedule, in the shape they expect. But the quantum does not bow to human deadlines. It unfolds through readiness. When you release the need to dictate how and when, you create space for the subtle guidance that is already arriving. Often these nudges lead you along paths your rational mind would never consider. Yet those very detours bring you to the reality you were seeking, just in a form you could not have imagined. The paradox of manifestation is this: the less you try to force it, the faster it flows. And remember, this is not about perfection. You will miss signals. You will second-guess yourself. That is natural. The shift happens when you commit to listening anyway. Every time you respond to even one subtle nudge, you strengthen the bridge between your conscious awareness and the field. Over time, you will notice reality no longer surprises you because you already sensed it before it arrived. The whispers were always there. You simply weren't listening. Now you are. So here is your new practice. Quiet the noise, sense the signals, act immediately. Do this long enough and your life will appear like magic to others. But to you, it will feel natural because you finally learned to live in the space where manifestation begins before thought. That is the true secret. To seal this awareness, write in the comments, I trust the flow. Not as ritual, but as declaration, a signal to the field itself. And here lies the paradox. You have already received countless signals, but most of them you ignored. Perhaps it was the gut feeling not to take that job, but logic convinced you it was safer. Perhaps it was the nudge to speak with someone, but hesitation silenced you, only for you to realize later they held a key to your path. These were not accidents. They were echoes of your higher self, previewing a reality already alive in potential. The reason so many feel stuck is not because guidance is absent, but because it is dismissed, rationalized away, or buried beneath fear. Ignoring signals does not stop the quantum field from sending them. It only ensures you loop back into the same patterns, reliving the same timelines. Here science and spirituality converge. Predictive processing research shows the brain is a pattern recognition engine, constantly filtering reality through past expectations. When a signal appears outside of those patterns, the brain discards it as noise. Bruce Lipton calls this the biology of belief. Our subconscious filters decide what we even perceive. That means the field may be whispering a brand new future. Yet if your filters are tuned to survival, you won't hear it. Instead, you recycle the familiar, mistaking it for fate. This is why people repeat painful relationships, unfulfilling jobs, or cycles of lack. Not because the universe demands it, but because the nervous system only recognizes what feels familiar, even when it hurts. Spiritually, this is the lesson of detachment. When you grip too tightly to how life should unfold, you drown out how it actually wants to unfold. Neville Goddard often warned against efforting from the wrong state, forcing change from lack instead of assuming the state of fulfillment. In the quantum, each signal is an invitation to shift timelines. But when ignored, you default to the old script. It is not punishment, it is physics. The field mirrors your dominant vibration. Doubt collapses a reality of doubt. Control collapses a reality of struggle. Resistance collapses a reality of blocks. So the question becomes, how do you break the loop? The first step is awareness of repetition. Start noticing where in your life the same patterns keep repeating. Do you always attract the same kind of partner, face the same financial struggles, or meet the same obstacles again and again? That is your subconscious looping. The quantum signals were there, but you tuned them out. Write these loops down, not to judge yourself, but to see the pattern clearly. Because once it is seen, it can be shifted. The second step is reframing discomfort. Signals often feel uncomfortable because they pull you into unfamiliar territory. That's why the body resists. But discomfort is not danger, it is expansion. Think of it as the final test we spoke about before. When the universe mirrors your old patterns, it is not blocking you. It is asking you to choose differently. The same is true for signals. If you feel a nudge to act and it makes you slightly nervous, that is often the sign you are moving beyond the old loop. Instead of recoiling, lean in. Your future self is waiting on the other side of that discomfort. The third step is micro-trust. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. Begin by honoring small signals, the ones that feel low risk. Maybe it's taking a different route home, saying yes to an invitation you would normally decline, or sitting in meditation when you feel the urge instead of scrolling your phone. Each time you follow a signal, you create evidence that trusting the field works. And the more evidence you gather, the easier it becomes to trust with bigger decisions. Just like building muscle, small repetitions create great strength. Finally, understand that ignoring signals is not failure. It is feedback. Every time you look back and say to yourself, I knew it, I should have listened, don't collapse into regret. See it as training. The very fact that you recognized it, even after the fact, means your awareness is growing. Next time, the gap between the signal and your action will be smaller. Eventually, there will be no gap at all. You will feel, trust, and move as one seamless flow. That is coherence. And coherence collapses reality in your favor. So ask yourself now, where have I been ignoring the whispers? Where have I rationalized away the nudges that didn't fit my logic? And what would happen if, just for the next week, I decided to trust the signals, no matter how small? Because here's the truth. The life you desire has already signaled itself to you. It has been showing up in coincidences, synchronicities, and gut feelings. If you are still waiting for proof, that is the loop. Break it by acting before the proof appears. Proof is the byproduct of trust, never the prerequisite. Anchor this reflection deeply. Reality is not ignoring you. You are the one ignoring it. The signals are always here, waiting. The moment you stop tuning them out, the loop ends. And in that instant, a new reality begins. By now, you may have realized something powerful. The signals never stopped. They have always been here, quietly guiding you, inviting you to step into a higher frequency of existence. What changed today is not the field itself. It is your awareness of it. And this shift in awareness is the true integration. Manifestation was never about collecting 100 techniques. It has always been about remembering that the compass was within you from the beginning. Your intuition, your nervous system, your subtle awareness. These are the instruments that align you with the timeline your higher self already walks. The most important shift you can make now is to stop dismissing signals as random coincidences and to start honoring them as sacred instructions. Albert Einstein once said, "The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant." For most of your life, you may have worshipped the servant and ignored the gift. But today, that changes. Today, you choose to live guided by the sacred gift of intuition, amplified by the quantum field. This is where spirituality and physics meet, where inner knowing collapses into outer reality. And here is the deeper truth. You are not learning manifestation. You are remembering it. Every child knows how to trust signals. They move with instinct, with joy, with curiosity. It is only through conditioning, fear, and programming that we are taught to distrust what we feel and overvalue what we can prove. But the quantum does not wait for proof. It responds to frequency. Your intuition, your heart coherence, your subtle sensations, they are not abstract fluff. They are data from the field, far more precise than logic ever could be. So what comes next? Now you step into practice. Start small. Notice one signal each day and honor it. Build the muscle of trust. Breathe into your nervous system so that when the bigger signals arrive, the ones that can alter your entire trajectory, you are not in panic but in flow. This is why Dr. Joe Dispenza reminds us that regulating the nervous system is the foundation of supernatural living. When the body feels safe, the soul expands. The safer you feel, the louder the signals become, and the easier it is to trust them. So make a conscious choice now. Don't just consume this content and move on. Anchor it, integrate it. Take this step into your next reality. Not tomorrow, not when life feels easier, but now. Because the signals you've been receiving are not random. They are the universe whispering, you are ready. Remember this as we close. You are not waiting for alignment. You are alignment. You are not chasing signs. You are the signal. The quantum field is not out there withholding from you. It is here, responding in real time to your vibration, your awareness, your decision to trust what is already true. Stay with this energy. Hold this frequency. Walk into realities that once felt impossible, not because you forced them, but because you finally allowed them. This is your activation. This is your remembrance. This is your moment. Until the next video, keep listening, keep trusting, and above all, keep becoming. The universe is already speaking. The only question is, are you ready to answer? If something within you awakened, don't let it fade. Anchor it by liking, commenting, and subscribing. These simple actions are not for me. They are a way of telling the field, I am ready for more.